For a while, trick-taking games were just okay to me. I would see someone recommend a game, I would try it, I'd be like, yeah, it's not bad. I don't hate the genre, I just didn't love it. Well, until now. These two games have definitely changed my mind. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Ryan. Welcome to the Board Game Journey, where you will be joining me to play 1,000 games. If you take the 2 games today, plus the games we're already at, that brings us to shaboom, to 124 games played. And the first game we're going to talk about today will be 7 Prophecies. Now, right off the bat, I would say the box isn't my favorite, but can't judge a book by its cover, can't judge a game by its cover. This thing packs a punch. So what made this game stand out so much for me is the fact that you need to predict how your tricks are going to come out, which I've seen before maybe with Skull King, where you try to predict how many you're going to win or lose, but this one takes it a step further. This one, you try to predict how many you're going to get first, second, third, and fourth. But if you're playing a 4-player game, you try to predict all 4 players. Which this solves a big issue I had with a lot of other trick-taking games. The issue I found with a lot of other trick-taking games is if you had to follow the lead suit or just high card wins, the cards you would dealt really dictated how your game was going to go. So when I first saw like the idea of that predicting your, whether you're going to win or lose, at least you have some. Okay, I have a bad hand. I'm going to try to lose a lot of these, maybe win a couple. But having the different levels, that kind of caught me by surprise, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because say you have a bunch of 7 and 8s, and you're like, well, I don't think I'm going to lose, but I'm definitely going to win. So I love that fact that you can at least predict second and third, which is really cool. And that's just only one cool part. The other really neat part is, in most trick-taking games, the first player who goes sets the suit. No, not with this game. This game, all the lead suits are going to be known up front. And I know that's kind of confusing, so it's better just to show you. So let me just spread it out and kind of show you how the game starts. So let's break this down into phases to make it easier to follow. So phase 1, everyone will, at the same time, kind of place their bets in secret. So everyone dealt one of these cards that have first through fourth on it. If you're playing a 3-player game, you'll just have the other side, which is 1 through 3. But we'll just pretend we're playing a 4-player game. So now we all secretly do this. We take our little color cubes that match our player color, and we secretly just add them to our card. And then once everyone's done, we'll move them on top of these. Basically, I bet 3 on first, I'll put 3 on the first, and I bet 3 on fourth, I'll put 3 on fourth. So you just move them over to the right places. So I said earlier, what the lead suit is going to be. So that's what this is at the top here. At the top here is this first yellow card says whoever plays first has to play a yellow card. And then everyone has to follow that suit. And then the next round has to be blue, has to be blue, has to be this like maroony red, and so on and so forth. So you know what each round's going to be. There's 10 cards, there's 10 cards here, and then there's 10 cards in your hand. So you know what it's going to be in the future. Now, you don't need to predict all 10. You're only trying to predict 7. So you just got to get 7 out of 10. That's all you're trying to get right. The one little twist is obviously the sooner you can do it, the better. So obviously if you can predict 7 for 7, you most likely are going to win the round, because when you get all your blocks off of these cards onto the cards in the middle, which we'll go through a sample in a second, the round ends right there. So you won't play through all 10. Potentially the game could stop at like 8 or 9. I personally haven't seen it go through all 10. Either someone won in 7 or 8 or 9. Pretty much is how it happened in my games that I played. So I'll give you an example of how like one player would set this up. So if, for instance, right now, we know it's going to be yellow. I look at my yellows. I have a 2 and an 11 right now. 11 in this game is the highest card. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to win that one. So I can put this on my first spot. I'll do it here so you guys can see. There it goes, number 1. Then I go to the next one. Okay, blue will be next. I have a 7, 8, and 9. Probably not going to win. It's not perfect information. There are, I think, like 4 cards in the box that didn't get dealt out. So I could assume someone has 11, but maybe no one has the 11. So bad luck would be the 10 and the 11 are out. So anyways, I probably can say, you know what? I think I'll get 3rd place. That'll be it. That's my bets. So now I take the 2 from first, the 1 from second, the 3 from third, and the 4th. Now every player does this. So I'll just show you one round just to show you how that works. So in this case, I would have to play yellow, so I play yellow. I play the 11, because maybe I'm going for the win on this one. The red player can then play, has to play yellow, but anyone they want. They go for a 3, and then the black player goes for a 1, and the yellow player goes for a 6. So once they're all played, obviously you can decide which one you want to play to make sure maybe you can get your place correctly. But now it goes like this. Since I won, I would go first. And since I'm white, I could take one of my white cubes and put it on top of my cube. So that way, the goal is to get them off of these cards onto your cards in the middle. So then yellow took 2nd place. So they would take one of the yellow ones, put it here. Red took 3rd, so they'll take it there. Now this is risky for red because they only have 1 cube on third. So for now on, they have to make sure they don't get third anymore. And then black, they got last place, so then boom. Now with black, they really feel like they're gonna do pretty bad because they have 4 cubes and they on the 4th card, so they think they're gonna do pretty bad. Now this is where I like this game because like, traditionally, if they have that bad of a hand, they're usually just like, well, I'm not gonna win this game. But now they have a good chance. If they predicted it correctly, they could still win even with bad cards. So when I bought 7 Prophecies, I was a little bit nervous because I was like, I just didn't know how my family group was gonna play this. Because like, with me, trick-taking games, you need obviously more people, 3, 4 people to really make them good. Especially in this game, I only played at 4. I imagine it'd be pretty good at 3, but I haven't tried it yet. So I had to play with my in-laws, my mother, my sister-in-law, and sometimes some games that I love, it just doesn't hit with them. It's either it's just not their vibe, too complex or whatever. So this one, I was a little bit nervous, but luckily I have shown them other trick-taking games, so that concept was fine. And honestly, they picked this game up right away. I was really impressed. So this, even on BGG, I looked it up after the fact. I think it's only like a 1.6 or 1.7 in terms of weight. So it's a pretty easy game. I would say that this game went over way better than Rebel Princess. Rebel Princess, I went in thinking, yeah, they're gonna love this game, but that game just fell flat, very flat. Where this game, they were excited to play. We played 2 games in a row, and honestly, we wanted to play more, but we just had to wrap. I had to leave. Had to get the daughter to bed. Bedtime's bedtime, guys. Yeah, so this is definitely a slam dunk for me. I love the small box. Definitely gonna be bringing this with me places. It does take up some table space. That's probably the only big con, but I think it's great. Hey, if you're liking the video so far, hit subscribe and like. It really does help out so much. Now, while you guys are watching the video, I'm gonna get back to reading Through the Desert. I've literally looked forward to playing this game. I'm a sucker for a little Knizia. Next up is Bottle M. Yeah, this was another big surprise for me. I really enjoyed this game. I went into it not quite understanding how the bottle principle was gonna play. And it's honestly a little bit confusing to explain, so I'll definitely have to show a little bit about it. But the one thing that really stood out for this game for me was you have this bottle price. We'll just say it's 19. We're only playing Y right now. But if you're playing above 19, you're playing cards that are worth 30 or 20, you don't need to worry about the bottle. It's just traditional trick-taking rules where high card will win that trick. But if anyone dare play below the price of the bottle, the 19 in this example, then that's where things get interesting. So let's hop in and show you exactly what I mean. So after all the cards are dealt out, the part I didn't show on camera is each person takes 1 card and puts it in the middle face down. This is called the devil's trick. Because on every single card, besides the main value, there's a point total. Like for instance, this 24 is worth 3 points if you have it in the game. The 16 is worth 2 points, the 9, 3 points, the 32 is worth 6 points. They're different points depending on how high and low the cards are. So you're putting those here, and whoever has the bottle, this is the bottle imp, at the end of the game, after all the cards are played, gets the devil's trick as negative points in their hand. And that's the big, the twist, which I really do enjoy. Because it adds a little bit of a threat, which we'll get to why this bottle is kind of cool, because it lets you do some interesting things. So the other thing you do after you put a card in the middle for the devil's trick is you pass 1 card to your right, 1 card to your left. Now this is another thing I like about this game, which helps alleviate some of the negatives I have with other trick takers, is it lets you get rid of some cards or maybe set yourself up in a better position. For instance, I have 1 red card, right? So I can pass this one to the person on my right, for instance, and whatever to the person on my left. And now I'm void of red. So it's kind of nice because this is a must follow. So if someone puts a red card, I have to follow red. But if I don't have it, I can play any color I want. Now, a lot of trick taking games, if you play off suit, well, you're just going to lose, and not in this game. So if he plays red, I can then play, say, my highest card, 37, green, and I can still win because the highest card wins, well, above the bottle. We'll get to that in a second. Let's just quickly follow 2 scenarios of what happens when you bid above the bottle price and below the bottle price. The bottle price, it starts at 19. Now, we're just playing a 4-player game. You're playing 1 bottle. There is a rule variant that lets you play 5, 6 players with 2 bottles. I've never played it. I do want to try it to see how it plays, but right now I only know how to play with 1 bottle and 4 players. So the 19 device where things get interesting. If you play above it, like which we'll do right now, so let's just say I go first, I might play, say, 24 green, right? So must follow green. This person has a 34. Oh, they're going to beat me. This person realizes they're going to lose, so they're just going to play above it as well. Maybe they'll play the 26. And this person just plays the 21. Okay, we'll keep it simple. These aren't the best plays, but we'll just make it work. So in this case, it's pretty straightforward. 34 beats everybody. They get the trick and the points that come with it. Now let's see what happens when you play below the bottle. Let's just say I start the trick off again with red and I do 28 this time. So I do 28, so this person has to play red. Maybe they go 25. And, oh, this person only has a 1, 4, and 5. They can't go above. So let's just say they played the 1. Probably a bad idea. Let's just say they played a 5. So they played a 5. And now this person can play a 7 or 18. 18 is a good call in this case. They play 18. So what happens is, even though I have the highest card of all the red cards, they play below the bottle. But they both play below the bottle. So what happens then, Ryan? Well, whoever's closest to 19 wins the trick. So even though I have the highest card, he played 18, they win the trick. So they would get all the cards. And what ends up happening is the 18 becomes the new value of the bottle. So that is pretty sneaky. When people play all these high cards and all of a sudden you go, boom, played under the bottle. It's like a risky bet. Like you know you're gonna win the bottle because you played under, but now there's risk. Because if you have the bottle at the end of the game, you don't get all the cards you won are basically worth 0. And you're only gonna score whatever's in the middle. And you don't know how bad that's gonna be. And it's gonna be negative, sorry. You score it, yes, but also negative. So with bottle limp, it becomes this like risk reward. Like the bottle price will continually go lower and lower and lower. And you have to be tactical and slightly strategic about how you plan out your hand. Because you can be like, okay, based on my hand, I know I can get it down to 10 because I'm pretty confident it has to go lower than that. And then I'll play. So it's all about when to play your high ones, when to play your low ones. And you can definitely get the bottle a few times and it goes back and forth, but you just gotta make sure at the end of the game, you just don't have the bottle at the end. That's a pretty high level look at bottle. I won't go through all the details. It's one of those games where I think the metas and the strategies and the tactical decisions, the more you play this game, it starts to really, you're like, okay, I'll do this and that. And I'll save this card for later. And it's fun. And I love the fact that it kind of solves a lot of issues I have with most trading games where you can get a pretty bad hand and because you are getting rid of a card in the middle and you're passing 2 cards, I feel like it does open up some possibilities to maybe make your potentially bad hand a really good hand. And also with the bottle, depending on, like, people can have really good cards and if they think they're gonna win the trick and you can just undercut them, get the bottle, get those high cards plus the points. Yeah, you took a little risk, but there's a lot of times you know you can get rid of the bottle, especially early. So boom, 2 more games. What do you guys think? Which one are you reaching for first? You going for 7 Prophecies or Bottle Limp? If you had to pick one first, let me know down in the comments which one you would choose. For me, Bottle Limp was the first one that I discovered before I knew this game existed. So I was really hyped on this one. I have the new bias where I just want to play 7 Prophecies more because I only played it a couple times and I really want to play it more. But I think both these games are just fantastic and I do crave them both. So I think the holidays being around the corner here, I think I definitely want to play this one again. So I'm gonna try to get this one to the table next. But I'll definitely sneak in a couple of games of this while I'm at it.